Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Michelle Fondin and I'm the author of the new book, Heal Yourself, A Return to Wholeness, the integration of body, mind, soul, and spirit. I'm also the author of Twin Flame Romance, The Journey to Unconditional Love. All of my books are available in paperback, Kindle, and Audible books. If you're new to my channel, welcome! Thank you for subscribing below. Click on that bell, scroll up to all for all notifications, and thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. I do readings, 30, 60, and 90-minute readings, twin flame, romance, life, path, and purpose. You can book that at my website, michellefondinauthor.com. Welcome to Twin Flame Questions Answered, where I answer one of the questions that you have posted to me, either in the comment section, in the community page, or via email. Today's question that I'm answering is it the Divine Feminine's job at 100% to heal, to allow the twin flame couple to come back into reunion? Oh my goodness, is this a charged one? This is a very hard question, and it's also very easy at the same time. But I know Divine Feminines often feel that all the pressure is on us. All the Divine Feminines have felt this at one point or another, right, Divine Feminines? You felt the pressure on your shoulders of just like, oh, is it really all on me? Is the burden all on me to heal, to change, to transform, to awaken, to ascend to a higher spiritual level? Do I have to be doing all the work? Well, let me just tell you something. And I want you to listen really carefully to what I'm about to tell you, Divine Feminines. Like, really absorb this. It's not your job. It is 50% of your job, and it's Divine Masculines' 50% of their job to heal themselves, to ascend into higher spiritual energy, to live from that higher spiritual place. It's not just your job, Divine Feminines. And I know that is really contrary to a lot of information that is out there on YouTube, as well as other twin flame articles and perhaps books that have been published and produced. And more importantly, I just want to warn you, this is like a warning, and this is the first time I have actually mentioned this, and I held back for a really long time because I didn't want to impose negativity or cast shade on other YouTubers, other authors that are out there. And so I am not going to name any names. I'm going to allow you to do your own research. However, I'm going to mention one magazine name, Vanity Fair. There was a humongous article. Just all you have to do is Google Vanity Fair Twin Flames. That's all you have to Google. There are some twin flame mentors. I'm just going to say the word mentors. There are some twin flame mentors out there in the world who are living more in shadow energy and pretending to live in higher spiritual consciousness, pretending to live in higher states of being, when in reality, it's not the case. It's like a bastardized form of higher spiritual consciousness. There's one book out there, and this person's already deceased, so it's a moot point, like it doesn't matter at this point. But it's called Twin Flames and Soulmates, and I can't recall the name of the author, but it's a pink book, and it's relatively popular on Amazon. But when I read, it's like Bishop something, I don't know, I can't remember right now. I threw away the book because after I read the backstory of the author, and first of all, the book, the first 90 pages of the book anyways, it just describes like twin flames from days past, like famous actors and actresses and things like that. So it wasn't really pertinent to finding out about the twin flame journey. And then the author told her own story. What I went to find out is that this author became actually like a cult leader and had a church, kind of like a twin flame church. And this was back, I want to say it was back in the 80s or something, like the 70s and 80s. And it was bona fide a cult. It was a cult, like people could not leave. And they had amassed a bunch of arms and they lived underground. And it was during the Cold War. So there was that fear of nuclear threat, but you can see that this person who had discovered the concept of twin flames, met her twin flame and all of that. And then they decided to open up this church, which wound up being a cult. And actually the daughter of the author speaks up a lot about it on, I don't know, the internet. I don't know where I found the articles, but I did find the articles, and it was in fact the daughter of this woman who revealed everything that went on in this cult. And I immediately threw the book away because I didn't want to have any part of that energy, like that bastardized form of what higher spiritual consciousness is. Now let's just fast forward to today. There are certain mentors out there that promise you as a divine feminine, and it's mostly divine feminines, that promise you as a divine feminine that if you just get into your own feminine energy, and then if you just do all of this work, and then if you just pay thousands and thousands of dollars, that your twin flame divine masculine will come back to you, because it's really all of your work. It's all of your job. You must do the work. And because of the dynamics of the polarity, which I talk a lot about in Twin Flame Divine Feminine Bootcamp #1, which does not cost thousands of dollars. It's only $244 for 75 days with over 30 videos of content plus bonus features. But I make it affordable because you have to navigate your own journey. This is not about me. It's about me guiding you, but it's not about me doing the work for you, nor guaranteeing you a specific result, because everybody is so different, and every journey in the twin flame community is so different. But just beware, be careful about YouTubers out there and mentors out there and organizations out there that are promising you results if you, as a divine feminine, invest in this program, this coaching program, this mentorship program, whatever it is, but that causes you to pay like thousands of dollars up front to guarantee that you will be back in reunion with your twin flame. And there is absolutely no guarantee. God is the only guarantee. Like, you can't replace God. You can't replace divine timing. You can't replace divine consciousness. Of course, you can do the work that you are designed to do as a twin flame, but not only that, but as a human being as well. Because a lot of the work that you are called to do once you go into your spiritual awakening is the kind of work that I would hope that any human being opening up to a spiritual awakening would be doing anyway. So the result of the work, like the gift of the work, would be being in reunion with your twin flame divine masculine. But that's not the reason you would do your work. And so be very careful. I know there are at least 2 major groups with major YouTube channels out there that are in the same camp, meaning that this more cult-like leader actually mentors teachers and mentors that then open up their own YouTube channels. It's kind of like a pyramid scheme, so be careful. That's all I want to say is be careful. If any mentor out there is guaranteeing reunion, if you pay them to take their course or their mentorship or their coaching programs, it is a lie, and don't believe it, because no one can guarantee that. Only God can. But that being said, if you go back to what is a relationship and what is the soul contract in that relationship, the soul contract, according to God, would never be, because like God is a just God. God is an even God. And even though things are not even and fair in this earth plane, can you imagine how horrible that would be if God created twin souls to have it 100% uneven in that like all the work fell on one party versus the other party, that doesn't seem right. Like it just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up from a love perspective. It doesn't add up from a higher soul level perspective. Like it just does not add up. I think you just really need to put that into logical perspective first. Like even Jesus, who sacrificed his life as a testimony to help humans transcend, right? Like that's really the reason Jesus gave up his life. But when he was in his ministry, it wasn't just Jesus. It was like his 12 apostles plus disciples who shared all of the work. So it wasn't as if Jesus was like carrying the burden on his shoulders the entire time he had his ministry. No, like one person was responsible for getting the food, the other person was responsible for getting the water, the other person was responsible for making sure that they had clean clothes. So there was shared work. It wasn't as if this great spiritual leader was out there carrying the burden for everyone, right? They all shared the work. And yes, Jesus was the preacher. Jesus is the one who was preaching the good news, but he had 12 apostles at least, right? Because we know there were also disciples, but there were at least 12 apostles that had his back, that were continually looking out for him, and they were looking out for each other. So can you imagine how awful of a system that would be if God said, I'm going to create twin souls. I'm going to split two souls. I'm going to split this soul into two separate bodies, but I'm going to make all the burden on one party, right? That just it sounds more like the work of Satan, like the work of the devil, or the work of whatever, if you don't believe in Satan or the devil, but like shadow energy, right? That seems like the work of something that is very off kilter. It just doesn't seem right. Because even in nature, if you're to look at nature, nature is a balance, right? Nature is an absolute balance. For example, carnivores really only need to eat like once a week. So if a lion goes out and kills a gazelle, they might eat for 2 days, but they might not need to eat for another 5 days. So again, that creates the equilibrium. Whereas if a lion had to eat one gazelle a day, then that would throw off the entire balance of the gazelles in the wild, right? Because they wouldn't have time to reproduce and have families and eat the grass and do the things that they do to balance the ecosystem. Everything is about balance. And therefore, if you are Divine Feminine listening to this, which you probably are if you're listening to this, just know that it's your work at 50%, meaning you are responsible for your stuff. You're responsible for your own healing. You're responsible for awakening to higher levels of consciousness, but then working that, just working your higher levels of consciousness. One way you can do that is to join my meditation class, learn meditation, and within 3 weeks, you are done and off and running on your own, and you can meditate daily on your own with zero problems because it's very easy once you learn. There's a commitment there, right? There's a commitment to you being responsive to yourself. And then if you do your spiritual practices, whatever that may be, you're going to consistently do them daily. If you're doing the healing, like healing your inner child, you're going to be working on it on a consistent basis. If you're transforming things and like overcoming ego-based consciousness, you're doing it on a consistent basis until you've mastered it. But you are not responsible for all the stuff that your Divine Masculine must do as well to raise their own state of consciousness. You're not responsible. So I just want you to go to sleep tonight and integrate that lesson into your being. That you are only responsible for what is yours. And I want you to release that burden from your shoulders and let it go. And don't listen to these people that are just, they're not in the highest level of God consciousness. They're not. Because God is a benevolent God. God is a just God. God is an unconditionally loving God. And placing the burden on one person is not unconditionally loving. It just isn't. Because we're all in this as a grand collective. We're all in this to create balance. And so learning your side of the balance is really important as well in this. So I hope this helps. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for subscribing to my channel below. Click on that bell, scroll up to all for all notifications. And thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. Thank you for sharing this video with other twin flames. And thank you so much for your support of this channel. You can buy a book or 2 or 3. You can join a boot camp. You can pledge your support on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin, and I will see you in the next video.